Welcome to Echoes of the Unknown, the podcast where we'll be exploring some of the world's most fascinating unsolved mysteries. I'm Jack Montgomery, and today we're delving into one of the earliest and most enduring missing persons cases in American history, the baffling disappearance of Judge Crater. The New York Supreme Court judge hailed a cab in the heart of Manhattan and vanished without a trace. It's a tale so entwined with corruption, secrets, and high society that it still fuels speculation nearly a century later. The disappearance of Judge Joseph Forrest Crater stands as one of America's most intriguing missing persons cases, blending elements of political corruption, organized crime, and the glittering yet dangerous world of 1930s New York City. The case became so famous that Crater earned the nickname, the Missingest man in America, and his vanishing act would perplex investigators for decades to come. Born in 1889 to Irish immigrants in Easton, Pennsylvania, Crater embodied the American dream through hard work and determination. After graduating from Lafayette College in 1911, he earned his law degree from Columbia University. By the 1920s, he had established himself as a prominent Manhattan attorney. His marriage to Stella Wheeler, a well-connected widow, further solidified his social standing. He began teaching legal classes at Fordham University, building a reputation as a clean-cut, confident, and charismatic figure. But Crater's real success came through politics. Crater's ascent to power was intrinsically linked to Tammany Hall, the Democratic political machine that controlled New York City from around 1854 until 1934. If you're unfamiliar with it, think of Tammany as a power broker that controlled who got what, from city contracts to judicial appointments. If you wanted to rise in New York politics, you needed Tammany's blessing. Crater was close to Tammany insiders and had represented many of them in legal matters. He earned a reputation as being both loyal and efficient. In April 1930, Governor Franklin D. Roosevelt, who was positioning himself for the presidency, appointed Crater to the New York Supreme Court. It was a significant achievement in his career, especially for a man who was just over 40 years old. Rumors swirled that Crater had paid off the Tammany bosses for his lucrative and powerful new job. But behind his polished public image, Crater led a complex private life, and he had secrets. He was known to frequent speakeasies and was often seen with chorus girls and showgirls. He had ties to nightlife figures and wasn't shy about enjoying the perks of his status, demonstrating the duality of his existence as both respected judge and nightlife enthusiast. These connections would later become crucial elements in the investigation into his disappearance. The last confirmed sighting of Judge Crater was on the night of August 6, 1930. That evening, he left his Manhattan office, bought a ticket to the Broadway comedy Dancing Partner, and then dined at Billy Haas's Chop House on 45th Street, just off Broadway in the heart of the theater district. It was popular with showbiz personalities, producers, and reporters, especially in the 1920s to 1940s. His dinner companions were William Klein, a lawyer and fellow Tammany associate, and Sally Lou Ritz, a 22-year-old showgirl. Crater was reportedly in good spirits. He paid the dinner bill with cash, stood up from the table around 9:15 p.m., and according to Klein, said something along the lines of, "I've got to get to the theater." His dining companions claimed they last saw him walking down the street alone, saying he was going to get a taxi. However, neither of them actually saw him enter a cab. That was the last confirmed sighting of Judge Crater. No one is known to have ever seen him again. Oddly, no one reported Crater missing right away, not even his wife. That's because Stella was up in Maine, where the couple had been vacationing. On August 3rd, just days before his disappearance, Crater had received a mysterious phone call. No one knows from whom, and told Stella he had to return to the city for urgent business. He promised to be back by her birthday, which was on August 9th, but he never came. When he failed to return for Stella's birthday, colleagues, friends, even fellow judges, assured her he was simply working long hours. She kept calling his apartment, but his valet and housekeeper maintained this story, creating a wall of silence that would later raise serious questions. But once he failed to appear for court on August 25th, nearly 3 weeks after his disappearance, his absence became noticeable. News of Crater's disappearance first broke publicly on September 3rd, when the New York World and other papers brought it to light, triggering a dramatic manhunt and sparking a widespread investigation. Investigators started with the last people to see the judge, Sally Lou Ritz and William Klein, but both claimed they had no idea what happened to him after dinner. Then they turned to his apartment on Fifth Avenue. What they found raised eyebrows. His law clerk, Joseph Mara, reported that on the morning of August 6th, Crater had destroyed various documents in his office, moved several portfolios of papers to his apartment, and arranged for $5,150 in cash to be withdrawn from his bank account, an enormous amount of money during the Great Depression. His wife revealed that a locked briefcase and several personal documents had vanished. Shortly after the judge disappeared, Mara went to the apartment and reportedly removed 2 briefcases, allegedly at Crater's prior instruction. However, the contents were never disclosed publicly, and those documents were never recovered. Crater's safe deposit box at a bank was also found to have been emptied. These missing papers have fueled speculation and conspiracy theories for decades. But one thing seemed clear. Judge Crater had been preparing for something. 3 main theories have emerged over the decades, each of which offers a glimpse into the chaotic, corrupt world of 1930s New York. The first suggests Crater orchestrated his own disappearance. Supporters of this theory point to the cash withdrawals, the missing documents, and the lack of any sign of a struggle. Some believe he was about to be named in a corruption investigation involving Tammany Hall. There were multiple unconfirmed sightings of him, both in the United States and abroad. These included in Atlantic City and New York City in the early 1930s, a small town in Louisiana in 1931, foreign countries ranging from Canada to France and Italy, and even the Midwestern U.S. in the 1940s and 1950s. However, the complete severance of all connections to his previous life makes this scenario less plausible, as even fugitives typically tend to leave some trace over time. The second and most widely accepted theory by investigators points to murder. Crater may have known too much. He was reportedly involved in shady real estate deals tied to the city's political elite. There were also whispers he had facilitated unethical judicial appointments in exchange for cash, a practice Tammany insiders use frequently. If Crater was getting cold feet or threatening to go public to expose corruption, he would have been a serious liability, and it's possible he was killed to silence him. Organized crime was notoriously flourishing in New York in 1930, and mob figures like Lucky Luciano and Dutch Schultz were deeply embedded in city politics. They had ample means for eliminating threats, such as a rogue judge with damaging knowledge. This theory gained particular traction given the era's notorious connection between organized crime and political power. A significant development supporting this theory occurred in 2005, when an elderly Brooklyn woman named Stella Ferrucci Good died. In her belongings, her family found a note. In it, she claimed her husband Robert Good, a New York City police officer, had confessed to helping bury Crater's body beneath a section of the Coney Island boardwalk near West 8th Street. She also named two other men allegedly involved, a local cabbie and a known mob enforcer. But there was no way to verify her story since the site had been excavated during the construction of the New York Aquarium in the 1950s. That was long before technology existed to detect and identify human remains. Still, the NYPD briefly reopened the case, although they found no physical evidence. Yet another dead end, adding another layer to the already complex mystery. The third, least likely theory suggests it was a crime of passion, given that Crater had a reputation for chasing women. Could he have been killed over an affair gone wrong? Some believe a jealous boyfriend, an angry husband, or a betrayed lover could have taken revenge. Others speculate that a showgirl, cut off from financial support, might have taken violent revenge. Despite these suspicions, however, no specific suspects were ever identified. Back in Maine, Stella Crater was devastated. She never accepted that her husband had voluntarily disappeared, maintaining until her death that, "My husband didn't run off. Something terrible happened to him. I know it." She became a minor celebrity in the tabloids, regularly giving interviews, appealing for information, and writing open letters to government officials, including the New York governor and law enforcement authorities, begging for help in solving the mystery. She published a memoir in 1939 titled The Empty Robe, where she criticized the investigation and expressed frustration with officials' lack of answers. Her steadfast belief in foul play added weight to the murder theories. Stella never remarried, and she died in 1969, never knowing what became of her husband. This sensational story captured so much media attention that it even had a cultural impact. The phrase "pulling a crater" briefly entered the American lexicon, meaning to disappear suddenly and without explanation. Stand-up comedians, meanwhile, seized upon the case as fodder for their routines, using the line "Judge Crater, call your office" as a standard gag. The judge's story has been referenced in popular culture in everything from The Honeymooners to The Simpsons, cementing his place in American folklore as one of the most mysterious disappearances in history. Judge Crater's disappearance occurred against a backdrop of economic depression, political corruption, and organized crime that defined 1930s New York. This context makes the case particularly fascinating as it represents not just a missing person, but a window into an era where power, influence, and danger often intersected in unexpected and sometimes deadly ways. His story serves as a reminder of how quickly someone can vanish, even from the heights of power and privilege, leaving behind only questions and theories that persist nearly a century later. This case remains a testament to the enduring nature of unsolved mysteries and their ability to capture the public imagination across generations. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Echoes of the Unknown. Got a mystery you want us to cover? Reach out to us on social media or email us at echoesunknownpod@gmail.com. And if you found today's episode compelling, please don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share with fellow mystery lovers. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and remember, the truth is always worth seeking, no matter how deeply it's buried.